thank you guys for being here. And I want to show to the world and share to the world the secret to success, but also the secret to my knowledge is right here. And I thank you guys. Like, you know, I can't thank you enough for the knowledge and the ceremonies and the direction.
I got my teachings mostly from my parents. My father was a great hunter. My mother taught us all kinds of stuff like forgiveness. When you go to a person that's dying, you ask for his forgiveness and you forgive them. And the same thing we're still doing in church on New Year's Day. We go to church and we take our, what we used to do, we take our little bundle, the women, they'll take their bacon, their meat pies and homemade bread, and they'll take their little bundles like the cutlery and dishcloth for her and her spouse, and we'd go to church, and then once we get there, the men take over. But first, there's all kinds of prayers the elders did, and then the people who stand around in circle and ask each one of them for forgiveness. Of course, the chief has to start first, or the Grand Council chief. Yeah, so that's how it was done. And then after that, when everybody has their forgiveness circle, then everybody settles down. The men always serve. They serve the women, and the children wait. But it's still going, New Year's Day, and all that. There's a lot of forgiveness. There's a lot of forgiveness in our communities, and it's very important. And that's where there's great love. Like I say, my father was a great hunter and trapper. I learned a lot from him, our ways, our native ways. And I learned a lot from my mother because she was a basket maker, and she had good language, Mi'kmaq language. The two of them did. My father had different dialect a little bit because he was from South Shore. I'd rather speak Mi'kmaq than English. Because I didn't learn English until I was about 15.
Really?
Yeah, until I started working in town.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes I didn't know what they were talking about.
Wow.
This woman said, "Will you take the swill out?" I took out everything. Garbage, cleaned the ashes from the stove. I took everything, trash. I still didn't take the swill out because I didn't know what it was. Anyway, it was hard when you don't speak English. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Is there anything that you'd want to share?
Aunt from MacEwan was visiting us, and she told us, "Let me know when you see the new moon. First time we see the new moon." So it was after supper, and she was getting washed, and we told her, I said, "There's no moon, so we know." And we went out, and I had one of her hands, and Bernie had the other, and we were going out, because she was blind. We got down the steps, and she started praying to me. Wow. So when she finished, she said, "You say it after me." So when she started praying, she told Bernie to repeat after her, and Bernie went so far, but he couldn't say the word what she was saying. And she swatted him on the back of the head. And you'll learn to speak Mi'kmaq. No, we see this now. And when it was my turn, of course, I was able to repeat after her. And when Bernie and I were coming back in with the wisdom, he said, "I'm going to be the best Mi'kmaq speaker around here. Because if you didn't speak our language, you don't know what the elders will do.
Thank you for sharing those old stories, and that how we're continuing to do that. When you talked about the forgiveness ceremony, and it has come back, and we continue to do that. That's truly amazing, and thank you for sharing that, and to know that where it comes from. It comes from your parents, and that's a long. And it wasn't, ceremony was also a way of life. Making baskets was ceremony. You know, raising our children was ceremony. Being with our family was ceremony. So.
And getting ready to go on your spirit journey.
Yeah, exactly.
The big sick one. You go to the bedside and you ask for forgiveness for the person that's preparing.
And also, well, like she said, it's reciprocal, right? Not only are you asking that person for forgiveness, but you're also giving them forgiveness because you don't want them burdened, that spirit burdened by anything from this world. You want to free them when they enter that spirit world.
So ceremony is action. Prayers are action. One thing that I know, our words are very verb-based. So I think that one of the most beautiful things that I think the world needs to know when it comes to Indigenous spirituality in our ceremonies, it is so much of doing. It's this, what you said, reciprocal. It's giving forgiveness, asking for forgiveness, and it's by doing that. So it helps some people when they prepare to go on to the next world. When a child is born and makes his first steps, and I know I witnessed that ceremony. Can you share that with us?
The walking out ceremony?
Yeah.
Actually, we learned that from Cree people. That was given to us by Cree people. And it's, the child has already learned to walk, but at that, is not allowed to walk on the earth. That child does not sit on the earth or walk on the earth. That child walks around inside, can walk on the step, but not actually on the earth. So what we do is the parents pick, I guess, 4 mentors or godparents that they would like the child to emulate or to help raise that child or to teach. And so we begin with that ceremony. It's inside the teepee or the wigwam, and the child and one of the parents is in the teepee or the wigwam with 4 elders. And then the child is passed from one elder to the other, and each elder speaks to that child and offering them words of wisdom and teachings. And the most amazing thing, I've seen it several times, is even when our people are speaking their language to the child, when they're speaking our own language, the child is paying close attention, and you would swear they understand because they nod the head and they look at the elder directly in the eyes, and they're paying attention to what's being told to them. And then when that's finished, one of the elders or the parent takes off the child's socks and shoes, and a pipe ceremony has been done outside. And so before that baby comes out of that teepee, the name of that child is announced to the 4 winds, and the parent or the grandparent sings a song. And usually the song we use is a song called the Mother Earth Song, and we sing that song as the child is coming out of that lodge and has touched the earth for the first time and makes that connection to the earth for the first time, has not touched the earth until then. That child comes out, and then if it's a little boy or a little girl, it doesn't matter, they come out, and little boy usually has a bow and arrow, and the little girl will have a basket of berries, and she passes out berries to everyone and learns to share. And then after they throw that basket into the sacred fire, or the bow and arrow into sacred fire, and they come with the parents. And it's a really beautiful ceremony because it's making that, I guess, that connection to the earth, finally making that connection. We have ceremony all through our lives. I tell people we have ceremony from long before the womb till long after the tomb.
Yeah.
We have ceremony. The teachings that I have, I learned from other elders. I learned from you. I learned from even my children who have given me teachings. I've learned from other young people. From young people, I've learned from elders from out west and Mi'kmaq elders that have been so kind. And to me, it's the most important education I have. And I put that on my CV. It's the first thing on my CV, teachings from the elders. You know where it says expected date of graduation? I have lifelong. That's the very first thing. My daughter does it too.
I love that.
And because without that, I have nothing. Without my traditional teachings, education doesn't mean anything.
I love that.
I have nothing else.